Hi. Hi, guys. What's going on? Wait for some people to show up. Say hi to Minnie when you come in. Wait for someone. Anyone. There's one. There's one person. Say hi. Say hi to that one person. Say hi. Do you want to come up? You want to stay up? We'll get started in just a second. Let me get everything squared away. Let me get this right. Okay, let me put this dog down. Let me get this light less out of the way of everybody. Let me put my phone on off. Do not disturb on. What's up, Mean One? What's up, Dylan? What's up, Kale? Thank you guys so much for coming out. Love when Bryce pitches against Houston. What's up, Border? Yeah, it's been pretty darn good. Pretty darn good. Okay, we'll get started. Mariners win 81-76 is their record. Mariners win 6-1 to improve to 81-76. And they take the first of the 3-game series against the Houston Astros. Let's go over the scoring plays. Third inning, big dumper singles to right to score Victor Robles, 1-0. Seventh inning, Julio Rodriguez singles to center to score Justin Turner. Dylan Moore, a mistake we will talk about, gets thrown out at third. 2-0 at the end of second. Wow. 2-0 at the end of 7. Eighth inning. Wow, I can't talk. Justin Turner hits a sacrifice fly to center to score big dumper. It's 3-0. Jorge Polanco doubles to left to score Randy Rosarina. 4-0 in the top of the 8th. Jason Hayward takes advantage of a Troy Taylor mistake, hits a solo homer to make it 4-1. But Julio hits a ground rule double and a Rosarina hits ground rule doubles. Both of those to give the Mariners runs, and they win 6-1. Okay. Let's start with the negatives. It would be nice if this meant more. And by that, I mean, how nice would it be if you were 4 or 3 games back in the division and you get this first one, right? That part stinks. That part stinks. The only other negatives that I have for tonight are Troy Taylor. He ends up getting out of it, but boy, he's got to do a better job with the command. He has to do a better job with the command because they are using him in high leverage situations. And tonight, so at best. So is probably too nice for a guy with a 9 ERA. And then the only other thing I'm going to talk about is I don't know what Dylan Moore is doing. Where are you going, bud? You can't make the third out there. And thank goodness it doesn't cost him because it was a 2-0 game. It was a 2-0 game. And it really should have been 3-0 if he just stays at second base. Fortunately, but they've got to do better of a job of base running. They have to do a better job of base running, and they have to do a better job of holding runners on. Those are the two things that have really, really screwed up this team this year. Well, among other things. Let me look and see if we've got some questions here. Dylan, 55-5 when scoring 5+ runs. That is a stat that will haunt my thoughts tonight. Yep. Glad we won, but the base running blunders are laughable. I have no idea. And of course, I said that after your question, but should have been 7-1. Where was this offense all year? This team is confusing. It's been hot and cold all year, but mostly cold, right? Great win. Totally agree, Matt. Edgar hitting coach has been huge. I think that's played part of it. A simplified approach for sure. Let's see here. In all honesty, rather have the wild card so we can play the Astros at the Astros. We have been great there. That's interesting. I need those home games. But I totally get it. There's no doubt that they were just, and I'm not blaming analytics. I'm just blaming a too complicated approach. Couple of huge outs to finish that inning, though. I commend Taylor for that. Good point. He gives up the homer, and it didn't bother him that much. Even the other hit he allows, Julio would probably tell you he should have caught that baseball. I mean, that's a hard play, but Julio thinks he can get to everything. It wasn't very hard. Hit very hard. Love the hat. I'll talk about the hat in just a second. Yeah, Ron, that's a great point. If you can't appreciate spending a week on the brink, I'm pretty sure you don't enjoy excitement. And I get people who don't. I get people who don't. This is tough, but I'm having fun. And it's a little easier to have fun when you get something along those lines. Okay, real quick about the hat, guys. SimplySeattle.com has a deal right now. You can save 30% off your order if you use code MOLLYWOP15. MOLLYWHOP 30. So it's MOLLYWOP 30. Excuse me. I think I said 15. But if you use that code, it takes 30% off your order. That's a great deal. And these hats are for sale right now. Go get them. They're awesome. They are awesome. Okay. Does Edgar return next year? First of all, thanks as always for coming out, William. I don't think so. I think he'll have a place in the organization, but I don't think he'll be the hitting coach next year. I don't think that he'll be the guy who does it. Traveled to Lincoln last Friday visiting with grandma. Oh, I'm sorry about that, AJ. I'm glad that you got to see your family, but yeah, that was a rough game. I was thinking about you actually as Illinois was playing. All right, let me get the positives and then we can talk about some questions. Hi, Brian. Thank you so much for coming out. The offense was pretty darn good tonight. Now, 9 strikeouts, but against a guy like Hunter Brown, who has been like one of the 3 best pitchers since May by ERA anyway, it's understandable, right? And we don't care about strikeouts that much. They're just outs. We care about the fact that they got 13 hits and drew 4 walks. They reached 17 times. Victor Robles, awesome game. Big Dumper, awesome game. Jorge Polanco with that big RBI double. Randy Rosarina with the big RBI double. Julio. Yeah, of course. I wish it was more consistent. But he's a 23-year-old. And when this guy is on, I don't think there's very many very better. If any. Josh Rojas drew a walk. Demo did draw that walk and made a terrific play at third base. That base running mistake was huge. But man, oh man, that was a really good offensive effort on a night where they needed to be good because they had to win. What's up, Bill? Thank you so much for coming out. First of all, let me end with Bryce Miller, and then we'll get to your questions. Bizardo, nice job. In a right situation to use him. I'm sorry, I did not like that usage of him in the 8-4 game. Facing the middle of the order, I just didn't like it. This was a right time to use him in a 5-run game, not facing their best hitters. I thought that was the exact right time to use our Steve Scheffler. And if you don't get that reference, the Sonics will be back soon. But Bryce Miller. I think if the Mariners somehow make the postseason, now it's probably not going to work out this way because you're going to have to start your guys. But if I could set my rotation right now, I think Bryce Miller might be my guy for game 1. He's been phenomenal, especially if he pitches against Houston in Houston. It's clearly not too big for him. His stuff was so good. And in that 7th inning, Alex Bregman lays off a really good pitch. Not a seeing eye single, but a ball that wasn't hit all that hard, gets into right field. And then from that point on, he shoved, as he did for almost the entire game, man. Almost the entire game. Bryce Miller has been their best pitcher since basically the middle of July. I'm surprised by that, but it doesn't make it any less true. He's just been so freaking good. Awesome. All right, let me take a look at some of these comments from these guys. When the Mariners don't make it, does Cal say anything this year? I would imagine that Cal Raleigh will have something to say for sure. He's not a guy who's going to hold it in. I'll tell you that much. I like Robles' aggressiveness, but he swings way too much without watching the ball. He can jump. There's no question that jump out of his feet is what I mean by that. But the overall approach is pretty darn good. But boy, he is aggressive on the bases. He is aggressive. He's assertive at the plate. You know, the OBP is just fine there. Yep. Yep, for sure. Love this game. Determination on display. Miller was killer. Just so good. And yeah, I don't know if it's focus or what with Julio. He's just on one. And it's great to see. It's great to see that he's hitting as well as he's played defense all year. Hopefully the offseason, not next week, too. That's a great point. And yeah, Matt, that's one of the biggest things, man. If you can win those next 2 games and not have this Houston Astros celebrate with you on the field, how nice would that be? How nice would that be? Thank you. First of all, thank you so much, my good friend. Fall. I never know exactly how to pronounce your name. That's okay. Just got this today. And again, Simply Seattle, 30% off right now. 30%. While I'm thinking of it too, if you guys don't mind hitting the like button, really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. It helps the stream a lot, helps the channel a lot. More people are interested when you hit that old like button. So I'd really appreciate if you guys do that. Sup, Travis? Excited for next year under Dan and Gar. Dan almost assuredly will be back. I'm not sure if Edgar's going to be back. We talked about that a little bit ago. Oh, Kyle, thank you. There's nothing to be sorry about. What kind of music did you play? I'd love to make signing Cal a true priority this offseason. Yes. Yeah, you got to bring him back, man. I'm going to move that a little bit. I'm also going to move this microphone a little bit, and I apologize if that changes the sound quality. But that now I can't see me. Okay. Well, that's fine. That's fine. Did I get on that Rainier seal? I did not. But that's a really good deal too. Keep a Rosarina and your outfield is set. Pick up the option on Polanco and move to third base. Promote Colt Emerson or Young, whichever is closer to play second base. Possible. Very, very possible. And as Dylan points out, knee sprain for Alvarez will not play in this series. I hope he's okay. I hope he's okay long term. I do not mind that he's missing these next 2 games. Somebody asked me if Gilbert is expected to pitch tomorrow. I would imagine it's still going to be Kirby, right? The thing you can do, right? The thing you can do here is you can play with it a little bit. You probably want one of those guys fresh for if and when Castillo comes back, because he will not be able to give you 100 pitches or anything like that. But you want one of those guys ready to roll just in case. Can't be Hancock either. And you need to cheat in order to get Hancock up here too. So, yeah, ESPN has TBD, and it could be Gilbert. It could be Kirby. Oh, it is Gilbert scheduled. That's my bad. On ESPN, and that's how I go by. If there was some stuff that changed today, but I did just see a TBD on my television as well. But yeah, I'd probably just leave it alone. I'd have Gilbert go tomorrow on his normal rest, have Kirby go on his normal rest, and then I would probably, yeah, because of that off day, I want Gilbert maybe pitching that 162. Boy, that's tough. Because if Castillo's ready to go, you do want him for that Friday start, but it might be so short. You know? That's tough. What would you guys do? Very curious. Let's see here. I have a gut feeling Jay Buhner will be the hitting coach next year. Jay and the organization have their issues. I would be kind of surprised by that. But, yeah, weirder things have happened. Is Polanco here next season? I don't think so. I would guess not. Why wouldn't Edgar come back? Is it money or is it the grind of traveling? I think it's the grind. I think Edgar would prefer not to have to deal with this stuff. Now, You can still keep him in the organization. You can make him an important part of what you do. But I just can't imagine that he wants to do this for 162 games again. That's just my guess. David Bell is available. You know what? David Bell would be a guy that I would love to look at bringing back to the staff. I think David Bell got kind of a raw deal. Yeah, the time commitment. And that's the thing, man. It's like the travel adds up to that time. You know what I mean? Will Castillo pitch again this regular season? I think it's either Friday or nothing. I really hope that he can get back on the field. Really does. Does a hitting coach really need to travel? Silly but honest question. No, it's a good one. Probably, yeah. Just to go over game plans and stuff like that. You know, you really want that guy to be a guy who breaks down stuff. If you don't have your hitting coach with you, you better have a good guy for giving you scouting reports and breaking down adjustments and stuff like that. I don't know if it's a necessity, but I sure would like to have my hitting coach with me on the road. Love the day. Yeah, I think David Bell would be really fun. And I think Bell and Wilson have a good relationship too. So it also wouldn't shock me if David Bell got a job somewhere else being a manager. There's not going to be a ton of openings, I think, this year. The Marlins, the White Sox. I can't imagine that Grady Sizemore will be back. What else will be open? A few others, but how much home runs does Julio need to have in these last games? Well, he's got to hit one more. I really want him to get to 20. There's something about that 20 mark. I will say Julio needs, over these next 5 games, 9 extra base hits. They need 9 extra base hits from Julio. The organization wants to use analytics, and Edgar does not use them at all. If they let Edgar do his thing, he may come back. If he is forced to use the analytics, he will leave. I think that's first of all, thank you so much, Jason. I think that's an oversimplification because Edgar Martinez is one of the most analytical hitters to ever play the game. He just may not know that. Now, he knows that, but Edgar Martinez is a guy who teaches patience at the plate. He was one of the most patient hitters in baseball for a very long time. But what he does do is he simplifies things. And by that, he takes a hitter's strengths and looks for that hitter to go up there and make the best of it. He doesn't look at so much big data that they try to break down into small parts. That's just asking too much, guys. It's hard for young hitters, any hitters, to do what they were doing, to take all that data and break it down into one at bat. He is just a guy who believes in using your strengths. Honestly, it works great if you have talented players. It doesn't work great if you don't. It doesn't work great if you don't. So, but right now, Edgar is making the most of a lineup that has talent. A flawed lineup to be sure. But he's done a great job of simplifying things from everything I've heard. Just too complicated a message that was being sent down. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, as Brian points out, there was a little bit of a bet there for that 20th homer. It sure didn't look like that was going to happen. But I'm hoping for it. I'm hoping for it. Let's see. Do I think the Seahawks will pull out a W in Detroit? I do not. It's hard to get to 4-0. And Detroit, in my personal opinion, has the best roster in the NFC. So I'm going to guess that's an L. I hope I'm wrong. But I just think Detroit, and they're going to line Aiden Hutchinson up all over the place. And I do not trust any tackle or any guard for sure to make those plays against Aiden Hutchinson. He's just to make those plays like he's a shortstop to block Aiden Hutchinson. I have a bad feeling about this one, but I'll recap it. I recap every Seahawks game on Mile Y now, and I've really appreciated everybody who has checked that out. Yeah, that's a good point, Kyle, that Detroit does have a lot of injuries at the moment. Sam Laporta, take a week off, buddy. Let that sprained ankle get perfect and really enjoy your time away. Let's see. So, real quick, you get the one. You're now a half game back of Minnesota, and you are a game and a half back of Detroit and Kansas City. I think I have that right. So that's good. It's kind of weird though, because nobody else played today. So it's great to gain ground without losing any. Of course, in the division, that's a little bit different, but that's still such an absolute long shot. But it's good to get off to a good start. Do we let go of Josh Rojas next year? Probably. It's hard for me to see Josh Rojas back, just because I think that I'll be so surprised if they don't address the third base position. And can you really carry a Josh Rojas and a Dylan Moore as backups? Yeah, I don't know. Do you think any of the minor league guys make the jump next year to the big league club? Yes. I would guess that Cole Young finishes the year in Seattle next year. And I would guess that Harry Ford sees some time there next year. Yeah, I would say both of those guys see time next year. Would be surprised if you see anyone like Colt Emerson or someone like that. I just would be I think those two would be the most likely anyway. Would you use a fullback to help block on passing downs against the Lions? I will say this. You have got to leave AJ Barner in as an extra blocker, because he did such a good job of that yesterday. Such a good job. I think PFF had him as their second best player. So more of an H-back type of thing, but you definitely got to protect with 6 and 7. Definitely have to. You cannot, with this offensive line, deal with those dudes without having extra blockers for sure. That's a really good point. Really good point. Analytics was successful when it was used to evaluate hitters. It's been less successful when it has been tried to improve them. That's interesting. There's organizations who do a pretty good job of it. Houston does it, although Houston's gotten away from some of the analytical stuff. It goes by organization, but if you just try and say, here, nerd math, it doesn't work out all that well. Dustin Ackley, I think, is a prime example of that. Let's see. Can't wait for Cole Young. Yeah, Cole Young's really good. He is my third best prospect in the system. I won't tell you the other two. My Hawaii enthusiasts know who my other two are. But yeah, really good prospect. More high floor than high ceiling, but I think we'll see him, and I think he'll do well. I'll get to what Dylan just said in a sec. Rope Boss won't be the cheapest player in arbitration either. It might be tough to carry him on the bench with a higher salary. It's a good point, too. And I'd imagine somebody has interest in him, because of the fact that he can play second. He can definitely play third. His defense has been really good this year. I just don't know if he hits enough. And I cannot do a Rojas Moore rotation at third base. You need a real third baseman. Jonathan India, trade and move him to third base if you need MLB ready option. I love Jonathan India. I talked about wanting him at third base, or second base, last year, and I think he would be just fine at second base. Have a blocking tight end on the field following Hutchinson's around a double anytime he's on the outside. Totally agree. AJ Barner is going to have to get to know his Michigan buddy really, really well. Those damn analytical trash cans. That made me giggle the moment I saw that. What third baseman with power could the M's go after in a trade? I was going to say Matt Chapman. That extension is pretty much taken that away. Let's see here. Well, Alex Bregman's going to be a free agent if everyone wants to throw a big fit about that. Boy, it's tough. So here's what I would say. Willie Adames, if you wanted to play him at third base, and I think he'd be really good there. If you are so pot committed to JP Crawford being your third baseman, or your shortstop, I think Willie Adames would be an awesome one. Yeah, I know, right? Nobody wants Alex Bregman in Seattle. He's a good player, but there's just so much history there. Let's see here. Third baseman with power that you could trade for. Max Muncy? Would it be shocking if the Dodgers moved on from Max Muncy? Muncy? How great would Max Muncy be in Seattle? But that makes sense to me. That makes some sense to me. It'd probably be a major leaguer for that type of guy. Yeah, that's probably. Oh, Ryan McMahon. I think Ryan McMahon is someone that the Mariners have to explore. Now, they should have explored him earlier, but, so those would be some guys. Which of the starting 5 pitchers is the most likely trade chip? Okay, so this has gone, I think all 5 of them at one point have been the most likely. So for a long time, it was Bryce Miller. But how he's pitched at the end of this year, I think he's the most likely to stick around of all of the 5, right? Just, he's been so good. I can't imagine that Bryce Miller is being traded unless you're getting an elite bat. Luis Castillo probably has the least trade value because of his contract. Kirby would have had the most trade value, but up and down year. I would say it's probably Kirby right now. I can't see them moving Brian Wu based on the stuff that he showed this year, even with some concerns about his durability and the fact that I think he's pretty clearly tired as the year went on. I think that's the guy you have to get. That's the guy that would be moved, if you wanted to get that bat. And Emerson Hancock, even though everyone on Twitter argued with me, definitely has trade value too. Just not the same type of trade value as those guys. If they are trading a Rosarina, sign Soto anyway. I'm sorry, man. Like, as much as I love this current outfield, give Juan Soto whatever he wants. Anything that dude wants, and make Randy Rosarina your designated hitter. 100%. 100 billion trillion percent. Give Juan Soto a blank gosh dang check. They won't. But that's what I do. How many Mariners could throw a football farther and more accurate than Riley Leonard? Let's see. Now, I am a Notre Dame fan, as I think Ron might know that because of this question. I'm going to go with 3. I just don't know which 3. JP has actually been a top 10 shortstop this year by DRS. Go Irish indeed, my friend Ron. Go Irish indeed. How many Mariners? Oh, wait, I just read that. JP has already been a top 10, like I said, I can't talk tonight. Shortstop this year by DRS. I still think he needs to move to second base for athletic reasons, but he's not as bad as I thought he was defensively. He has been much better defensively this year. And I give Perry Hill a ton of credit for that because it's not a case of improving range. His instincts have been so much better. He has been able to read the ball off the bat a lot better. Now, I would agree with where DRS and outs above average rank him personally, but he's been a vast improvement over what they got last year. Vast improvement. I still think second base would be his best position, but no doubt about it. Definitely a guy that you have to look at least moving to second base. Rodney, if the Mariners fail to make the playoffs next year, will Dipoto be gone? Sorry, Chris, but failed expectations just does not cut it. I wonder if his voice is not going over with the players. I would say it depends on how much you miss the postseason by. If they go 82-80, I think he's gone. If they go 88-74, he's probably back. Now, Anything less, I think, than 80 wins for sure, he's not back. But if they're in contention, I think Jerry DiPoto's staying. As for the message getting to players, I've heard mixed results on it. Mixed results. Or mixed opinions, is what I should say. A lot of mixed opinions. Again, guys, please hit like on the stream. It really helps. I appreciate you guys so much for tuning into these. It's so much better than recording just a normal video. But yeah. Thank you so much, Mean One. I love doing them. I appreciate that support so much. Kirby to Boston for Cassis plus a bullpen lotto ticket or Cases. I can never pronounce that guy's name. How would we feel about that? I would be, look, my buddy Forrest at Leighton Sports Cards has floated that one by me. I think it makes sense. Is it a trade the Seattle Mariners could regret considerably? Yeah. Because George Kirby could be an ace. George Kirby has pitched like an ace in the past and is still extremely young. And Tristan Casas is a good player, but maybe not a great one, and some limited positional value at first base. But it does make some sense. Something to explore. If they're serious about potentially moving him. I don't see the point in moving him, but they have a pretty good farm system, but are you giving up Roman Anthony's and Marcelo Myers for pitchers? I don't think so. I don't think you do that. So, does it make more sense to move a starting first baseman than two of the top 5 prospects in baseball? Yeah. And the Mariners have enough starting pitching depth that you could look at that. Yeah, Jarren Duran ain't getting moved. That guy's going to get mid MVP votes. But I would love it. The Mariners could have gotten him a couple of years ago on the cheap. But unfortunately, and to be fair, I will point out that Jarren Duran has an issue. And Seattle takes that stuff seriously. But Abreu, Nick, thanks so much for coming out. That could be a guy they move. For sure. Especially with Roman Anthony on the rise. I'm going to promote the channel real quick on the old Twitter machine because you guys are doing a great job of bringing the questions and stuff, so we might as well keep going for a little bit. I got nothing going on. Okay. Profile. We're still chatting. Come on over. Period. And tweet. Had we gotten a couple of years ago, we'd have screwed him up probably. That's a fair point. You can honestly wonder if the Seattle Mariners would be the organization that is the best for developing a player like Jarren Duran. They have not done a good job with it. For me, next year needs to have JP at second. We need to find a new left side, and not only power guys, a consistent contact guy that can keep the line moving would be good too. Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. I am feeling better, Dylan. I will say one of the things that has really helped me, and everybody gave me a bunch of suggestions, and I tried them all, and I appreciate it. Starting to drink Diet Coke again. Pepsi, excuse me, really helped. And what I found is that caffeine helps with migraines because I don't drink coffee. I don't do any of that stuff like they're drugs. I don't like coffee. So my only caffeine that I was ever getting was from Diet Pepsi, but it really helps close or opens up whatever the heck it is, those issues. So thank you, Diet Coke and Pepsi. Thank you for helping me feel a lot better. I get them here and there, the migraines, and I really appreciate you bringing it up and asking. Thank you so much. Washington willing to move Abrams because of his maturity issues? I doubt it. Just a silly mistake by a kid. He's such a good player. You would have to give up so much, but I would love it if they did. CJ Abrams has a chance to be a top 10 player in baseball. Boy, what a silly mistake, though. And I realize it's dumb that they can't do this, but come on. You got an offseason coming up. Go party in the offseason and don't get caught. Don't get caught. Just a really silly thing to do. Really silly thing to do. Okay, so I wanted to take a look at the pitching matchups tomorrow, just because I think we got a scoreboard watch like crazy, right? So again, to be determined for the Mariners against who? Who do the Astros starting tomorrow? The Astros are starting Framber Valdez. It's a tough one. That is a tough one. A couple of lefties back to back in Valdez and Kikuchi. By the way, I'm not rooting for it. Kikuchi clinching the division for the Houston Astros against the Mariners. Kind of funny. Kind of funny. All right. So let me take a look at the other pitching matchups here. MLB scores. And yes, I do talk to myself like that whenever I'm using the internet. It's just the way I work. We've got Padres, Dodgers doesn't matter to us. It's an important series for them. All right, so we've got Bailey Ober against Ryan Weathers. Weathers isn't bad. Weathers is not bad. Now, guy who just came off the 60-day IL in his last start, 4 1/3 innings of 5 runs, but that was against the Dodgers, and the Twins are not the Dodgers. Allowed 3 homers, struck out 5. He can pitch well against them. I don't think it's crazy to think that Ryan Weathers can pitch the team into the pitch them into a W. I don't think that's crazy to ask at all. And then Bailey Ober, pretty good. Pretty good. So advantage Minnesota for sure, but not crazy. And then Cole Reagans against Mitchell Parker. So obviously Reagans is their best pitcher. All due respect to Seth Lugo, but Reagans is certainly the most talented guy. Parker for Washington got off to a pretty nice start. Has really struggled in the last 3 out of 4, but he's had his on days, and he's kind of been back and forth with it. And his last start wasn't great against the Mets. It's winnable. It's winnable. It's definitely winnable. Framber is gettable. Yeah, you have to get him early, and you have to get him off his game. Have to get him off his game. If you can get Framber to lose focus, and he's been known to do that, as Brian points out, you got a shot. And then the third one that you got to pay attention to, and I didn't realize the Rays have been playing pretty well lately. Hey, we don't growl at our sister. We don't growl at our sister. Pepiot against Skubal. Now, Skubal is going to win the Cy Young. Ryan Pepiot lately, good. Good. It's winnable. It's winnable, man. It'd be really nice to see 2 of those 3 lose tomorrow. Because for me, what it'll be easier to really pick who to hope for. You know what I mean? Like, if Detroit and Kansas City lose, that's who we're rooting for against, right? If Minnesota and Kansas City lose, those are the 2. But it's kind of nice to have your rooting interests set. Maybe that's just me. You guys can tell me if I'm crazy. But isn't that easier? You know what I mean? Like seeing which of the teams screws up so you know you can hope for him to screw up the next day. They still need so much help. So much help. Well, I think that's going to do it for us. This was a lot of fun. I appreciate everyone for coming out. Praying for the good Edward Cabrera on Wednesday. Yeah, man. You never know what you're getting from Edward Cabrera. That stuff is so sick, and that command is so sick in the other way. Sick in the other way. But yeah, if you guys don't mind hitting like before you leave, I'd really appreciate it. Um, we'll do another live one tomorrow, I think. It's going to depend on how tired I am. I have a long day tomorrow, but if we don't do a live one tomorrow, we'll definitely do a live one Wednesday. And we'll have a live Mile Wide chat for enthusiasts probably on Thursday. So appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for all the great questions. Thank you for the support. Love you all. Go Mariners. And again, real quick, Mollywop 30, MOLLYWHOP 30, 30% off your order at Simply Seattle. Amazing deal. Talk to you guys soon.